Welcome in everybody to the TK Pod. My name is Tyler Kluver. I was once a Division I football player. I am now a podcaster, fitness coach, and CrossFit athlete, doing all of that as a husband and father of two. This show is an audio journal, a spot for me to vent or ramble about thoughts I have relating to fitness and health, my personal competitive aspirations, business, entrepreneurship, and more. I hope that each show can provide one small bit of value for you, the listener. Regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. And here we are. Last week, no TK Pod. And that's usually how it happens. The way it happened last week is you get halfway through the day and they just haven't done it yet. I usually do these in the morning. I'd call this a later time frame, actually, recording it at 10:30 a.m. right before I go up and make myself a delicious pot of Goodles mac and cheese. Protein-rich mac and cheese. Highly recommend. Not a sponsor. Wish they were. And honestly, I kind of knew that it wasn't going to happen last week, and I didn't make a great effort to do it. If I have to do this podcast, really at any point during a time where just one or more of my family members, that being my wife, son, or daughter, are home, I suppose there's a chance if the baby was sleeping, I could do it. If it was just the baby, I'm probably not going to end up doing it. The reason for that is this doesn't do anything for me directly, primarily. This podcast, the TK Pod, which I love and is very dear to my heart, cathartic for me, therapeutic. Cathartic? What does cathartic mean? I think I meant therapeutic. Cathartic. Providing psychological relief through the open expression of strong emotions. Yeah, it's cathartic as well, and therapeutic. That is what this is for me. It's a way for me to talk about the shit that I do, the self-important, self-centered stuff that I do and feel is much more important than it is to everybody else, so that I don't end up talking to everybody else about it. Nobody else has to hear it because I can speak it into the void. I now feel good about it. It helps me process certain things as well when it comes to training or ideas. And also helps me as a creative outlet. I hone the skill of speaking. I really try to work on how I speak and talk during these episodes. I have an emphasis on that, less so than when I'm in a conversation with people on the main podcast that I do that does make money. But I'm using this to get better in multiple ways and help me just process stuff in life. That being said, that for a week is not as important for me to accomplish if the family's home and I only get 3 to 4 hours with the kids every day. Once they come home from daycare, and this is going to take me 45 minutes of that, nearly 25% of that time I have. And I'll be like, yeah, let me go do a podcast that is just for fun by myself. That's probably not going to happen. So here we are 2 weeks later. Sometimes it sneaks up on you. Again, last week, it didn't necessarily sneak up on us. It was my wife's first day of work back. She had one day of work where she had to go in the morning and, do some leadership, team building activities with her coworkers at her school before they started full time this week. And so I had the baby all morning. Actually got blood work done. We could talk about that. So I had to take the baby boy with me to go get my blood work checked that morning. And then I hung out with him until about 1:00. And then at 1, it was time to work out, work out. And then before you know it, do a couple other work things that were priority over this podcast. And then it's time to go get Kid Diesel and hang out with the family for the afternoon. So no TK Pod last week. At this point, though, with more regularity than it has seen in months, the TK Pod is likely back for good until the holiday season. because, like I said, wife is back to work. Both kids are in daycare. There's not going to be a single Wednesday for the next 4 months, basically, where I'm not just here at the house by myself. Um, and I don't have time to, it's not like I don't have time to do it. They're 20 minutes long, takes another 10 minutes to upload it, maybe more. Um, should be fine. So, all that to say, 5 minutes in, here we are doing another episode, and hopefully this kicks off a streak of many in a row. I guess probably the two biggest things for me in the last week, 2 weeks have been another injury, and this time it's a weird one. We'll get to that in a second. We'll go back to last week and that blood work, though, on Wednesday. Why was I getting blood work done? Well, for one, I just kind of like doing it. I wish I did it more. It's a little bit it's a little bit expensive, especially for my current stage in life. N Also, when you consider the relative benefit or gain I get from doing it, the cost benefit analysis doesn't really make sense. But every once in a while, I do like to do it. Once a year, you can do it, and it's covered by insurance on like your annual exam. This is actually the second time I've had it done this year, though, because earlier this April, March, April, I got it done for a life insurance policy. And went through that process. Obviously, the blood work is something they use to help determine how healthy you are, and that determines your rate. And that blood work came back with several markers showing that my kidneys, several markers of the kidneys that weren't in range. Not some crazy out of range thing, literally like just out of the range, but there was like 3 or 4 of them. Um, Creatinine levels, the BUN ratio, which I'm not sure exactly what that stands for, but has something to do with the creatine, the creatinine. Um, the glomerular filtration rate, which also has something to do with those 2 things. And this caused a hiccup in that process of getting the life insurance thing done, raised the rate for this first year that we're gonna have it, and, kind of threw up at least a red flag in my head because as we've talked about this summer, training has just felt like ass. And while it is likely almost 100%, if not fully 100% attributed to less sleep and more stress because of the newborn baby, um, it's been so bad that, you know, when you have the contrast of where I was at my peak of training, which you could argue is back in sort of that March, April timeframe, to now, what I feel like, you start to, it starts to become mentally more than something attributed to like, oh yeah, you're just getting less sleep and you're more stressed. Again, the reality is that it probably is just that, and those things factor in enough to drastically change things. But in my head, I've been thinking like, is something wrong? Do I have cancer? Am I dying? Like, so we decided to go back in, get the physical, because you can get the blood work done. Didn't do it last year, but went and did it this year. Results came back. Everything's good. Everything's in range. Did not take creatine the day before, and did this blood work fasted, which neither of those were the case when I got the blood work done for the life insurance thing. So we're gonna have to redo that. My body's fine, at least I'm pretty sure it is. Blood work says it is. And some of those levels I have, which they need to change because creatine's like the hottest market supplement there is right now. Everyone's on creatine. My fucking mother-in-law's on creatine. Hey, she's like, hey, do you take creatine? It's getting to everybody and it's got all these benefits, right? But because I take it, my creatinine level's high. That messes with the bun ratio, the GFR level. And because of that, now I'm getting a higher rate because they think I'm not healthy on the fucking light. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, went and got the blood test. It was all good. We're feeling fine. Friday rolls around and I am doing some, training wise right now. For a second there, we're like, I don't know if we're gonna how much are we gonna really compete in CrossFit this year? What are we gonna do? I'm kind of taking a step back. We've been on a step back for 3 months anyway, because the baby was born. We've been training the way we want to train, not the way we have to train. A lot of lifting, a lot less cardio, which is just, very clearly showing up. And so we got but we are back on the elite track of the NBD fitness programming that we follow. And I'm doing as much as I can, as much as I feel like is good for me. Trying to gradually increase volume as we get more into the fall here, and with the thoughts of again peaking and increasing that volume all the way up to where it was this past year for the CrossFit season as the year turns over to the 2026. And so that called for some jerks the other day. And actually we hit a really great lift right before this happened. It was a 4x2 double clean, with a reset in between. So you have four doubles to get to your highest weight, working weight, and it's just or I guess it was two hang squat cleans. So you know, I know a lot of people don't like calling them squat cleans, but when you mandate the squat, um, that's what kind of classifies it in the CrossFit world. So you have to take it from the hang, catch it in the full squat, stand it up, drop, reset, hands back on the bar. Again, take it from the hang, drop underneath, stand it up, reset. And I got to 305. Felt really good about that. Crushed 305. Probably could have done 315, which is, three wheels for a double hang squat clean. Fucking will take that. Feeling great about it. Feeling good, loose. Everything, nothing is wrong. Having a great session. Even thought to myself, this would be the time that I would get hurt. Like I'm in the groove. We load the bar up for, I believe it was going to be some push jerk, like very similar, like 4x2 push jerk or something. And we're in our warm up sets. We're at like 275. I'm trying to get to like 295 or 300 ish range before we do a working set. And I go to just do the dip. Like the bar is in the front rack position. It's in its normal, nothing crazy's up. And I just go to do the dip and I feel this weird kind of tightening all the way back down the side of my head. Again, bar's front rack. I feel a tightening in the back of my head, down my neck, like kind of radiates out into my shoulders, like a sharp pain and tightening. I'm like, well, that's weird. So much so that like I kind of give it another dip. I've got 275 on the bar. So it's a decent amount of force that I'm, dipping and redriving. And it hurts. Like it hurts bad. I rack it and the pain is there. And I'm kind of like trying to like, is my neck just kinked or something? Do I need to crack it? Like loosen it up? No, like something happened. I didn't feel a click. It was just sort of it kind of just came on and everything tightened up over the course of 5 or 10 seconds. And then as I racked the bar, it got worse. Realized that I wasn't finishing that workout because everything was starting to tighten up. Immediate like tension headache. Um, got worse and worse and worse as I put the weights away and went inside and then sat there that afternoon. And my shoulders and my neck, my upper back, thoracic, basically completely immobilized for 24 hours. Could not move. Um, a day later, midday Saturday afternoon, it was a little bit better. Sunday, it was a little bit better. And then we've kind of just been hanging out at that spot for the last 3 days as we come up on a week on this injury. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like an internal concussion, like a non-contact concussion. I know that's possible. Um, My head doesn't hurt as much as my neck and shoulders do, so I don't think it's that. Again, with the whole like, "Oh my god, am I getting cancer?" with the cardio stuff this summer. Same mental blender. I go straight to worst case scenario. I'm like, "Did I internally decapitate myself?" And like I'm, one wrong move and I'm gonna die. All these things going through my head. I think I'm fine. I don't know what happened. Generally I know I can sort of decipher the series of events when I get injured, what went wrong, what I didn't do correctly. This one, I'm completely in the dark. I'm in a front rack position where the weight is supported in the front of my body. The core and my anterior side of my body is what's supporting this weight. My shoulders, my clavicle, my wrists. That's where all the pressure sits. My back, if I'm positioned correctly, which I was. And I did a very simple 3-inch movement where the weight just kind of dipped down and I felt that weight, that power. And the back of my neck and shoulders stiffen up and go completely, CNS just like grabs on and just doesn't let go. I don't know what happened. I'm confused. And it's not something I've ever felt before. It's not an injury that I've ever had or dealt with. I still don't know how to prevent it. Like I just did not. I'm gonna have a little bit of PTSD from it because now every time I go to do a jerk dip, I'm gonna think like, am I don't know. I don't know if somehow the skin or like the muscles on the front got pinned down by the bar, and when I went to dip, I kind of dumped my shoulders, and that pulled on the muscles in the back of my neck. That's the only thing I can think of. Um, I know this, my central nervous system and my vertebra and the spinal, everything going on around that area gave me the response of like, "Hey, don't fucking do that again." So, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure it out. That has severely decreased my training volume, intensity, and variation over the last 5, 6 days. So that sucks. I am still right now, sort of what my training looks like right now is Monday to start the week. Really, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are lifting days, and those lifts range anywhere from Olympic lifts. Haven't been able to do those because of this injury, but this is the cycle I'm in right now. Could be snatches, or cleans, some variation of those two, all the variations of those two. Um, and then Wednesdays and Saturdays. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday is lifting. Wednesdays and Saturdays are variations of squats, front squats, and deadlifts. Sometimes there's some single leg uh, split squats in there as well. And then on Tuesdays, we're doing what would you call it? Like a road workout. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday are basically my days for the mile program that I'm on right now. So I actually am running that mile program from Adam Klink's sub 5-minute mile and 500 plus pound back squat. I'm not doing the back squat. I'm just doing the lifting of the NBD program, but the running I'm doing on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Monday or Tuesdays are road workouts, sort of time based intervals. So, for example, yesterday was 3 by 5 minutes, and you're trying to hit a certain pace. Um, Thursdays are the long, slow runs, sort of like your zone two, if there was such a thing, or if that was what it was classified as in the program. Long, slow run. You're talking 30 plus minutes of just slow, consistent running. And then Sundays are track workouts or distance based intervals. So the one I did the other day was 3 sets of a 400. You're going every 4 minutes. So at 0, you start the clock, you run a 400. I think I was finishing them in 140, 14, no, what was it? 127, somewhere around there, 125, 127 on a 400. And then you rest to the 4-minute mark, you hit it again, you rest to the 8-minute mark, hit it again. And then after those 3 reps, it was 3 by 200 at like a 40-second pace, rest every 2 minute, to the 2-minute mark. So 6 total reps there. And that's kind of how the program's built. It's not exactly like that for all 10 weeks, but that's generally how it is. 3 runs a week. I'm adding in just a little bit of extra stuff on those days, but not really. Like I'm really with the injury, especially last week, I'm basically just focusing on the run and that's it. I'd like to add in another cardio-esque piece on those days, whether it be in the same session or an earlier session and split those two. Still about an hour, 75 minutes of work, but just to break it up and give the day a little break. That's how you do it. Um, but right now, again, with the injury, it's like just getting out there for the programmed workout is enough. And really, it feels like all I can do. And with the humidity this summer, and I said it at the beginning of this podcast and before podcasts of this one, like this summer has just made me feel like a complete dirtbag. Like I'll be honest, I probably put out the most embarrassing effort I ever have in a workout yesterday for that 3 by 5 minute. For that 3 by 5 minute, I'm supposed to hold about a 5K pace, which in the program says is about 30 seconds slower than your mile pace. So, knowing that I'm not a runner, I even gave myself another 15 seconds of grace. So you take my max mile, which was a 6:25 to start this thing. I don't even know if I said that on this podcast. And then you add 30, what I added 45 seconds to that pace, which would be now a 7:10 mile. And then that 7:10 pace is what you're supposed to hold for those 3 5-minute intervals. So you hold 7:10 for 5 minutes, you rest 2 minutes, you hold 7:10, rest 2 minutes, hold 7:10. I averaged right around 750. I basically averaged an 8-minute mile on 3 by 5 minute intervals. And that's fucking embarrassing. Because I'm pretty sure if I just went out and ran for 15 minutes straight, I could just average 730. I could run 2 miles in 15 minutes. Like that's it's completely embarrassing. So I don't know if it was just the humidity yesterday. It did feel like 92 and was thick as a dog out. I don't know if my body is literally just that fucking deconditioned right now. You can hear it in my voice. I'm mad. I'm not happy about it. And I'm waiting for my conditioning to come back. And it just isn't. And so evidently all that work I put in over the last several years of doing all this zone 2 in a couple months of not doing any, I've just lost all of it, which is so fucking cool. I'm frustrated. I feel like I'm not going places. I'm wasting time. All these things. So, right now it's very much so a thing for me and my own fitness of if we can go out there and get in one good piece, put in good effort for one good thing, that's what I'm taking as wins right now. Not even the result of the thing, just a good effort for one thing. The a small note for a hot second last weekend, actually before this injury happened, I was slightly halfway planning on doing the Waukee CrossFit local comp that me and Isaac won last year, Majors Army Festival um, at CrossFit Waukee. And they released 4 workouts and opened up registration. That competition is happening in about 3 weeks, maybe about 3 weeks from Saturday. And me and Isaac were going to do it, and based on the based on the workouts, we're probably going to go in and win it again. I'm not sure who would sign up that was going to beat us. That's really not the point. It's for a good cause, but he also had a baby like 2 weeks ago. Good yawn there. He also had a baby like 2 weeks ago, and his life is crazy right now. And he hit me up and was like, "Hey, I can't do it." So as of right now, and I'm totally okay with this, especially because I'm injured and I don't, and I'm even if I wasn't injured, I feel like a sack of potatoes trying to do cardio. I don't think we're doing that competition, and so still no competitions on the schedule for right now. And to be honest, at, at- as of today, I don't have the mental capacity to look forward and say that I will for certain be doing any qualifiers or competitions in the next you know, between now and the Open. The CrossFit Open's the ultimate goal, so that is what it is. Um, so that's where I'm at. Disc golf wise is maybe the only exciting news in my life, and that is I haven't played any. Still haven't played any. It's been way too hot, and I've been enjoying the last several weeks of summer with the fam. But again, now that they're back, um, hopefully, if I feel good, I'm not going to go do it right now because twisting feels horrible. But hopefully, and it's not going to happen next Friday because I'll be doing something for the walk-ons all day, Fry Fest in Iowa City. But we're looking at the whatever the first Friday of September is. That should begin another fall tour of all the courses of Des Moines where I can go out every Friday and leisurely play a little disc golf, get out to some different courses and have a little me time. So hopefully 16 days from now, we're ripping our first full round of disc golf in months at this point, and we can add that back into the weekly schedule. So that's where we're at. Hopefully, everybody's week physically is going better than mine, emotionally as well. Just everything in your life. I hope it's better than mine. Until next week, when we will be here for sure. Have a good one.